I'm Angela Adepoju, or you can call me Adetola. I mean, whichever one you prefer. And this is a video tutorial on my puff mix. This is the Foodfeastuk puff mix, and I'm going to be doing a video on how to make your puff so that it can be nice and perfect like the ones I've been showing in all the pictures, like the one that's here. I'm sure you like the pack. It's so pretty, isn't it? Right, before you start mixing the process, what I usually do is I put on the oven and I preheat it for like 2 minutes just to give it a warm environment, because with the kind of country I live in, I don't necessarily have the sun or the warmth to use for my puff mix. And once that is done, I go through the process of mixing. Empty the contents of this bag into a mixing bowl, which is what I'm going to do now. And while you're doing this, it will probably already have been a minute or two, so you can turn off the oven just to make sure it doesn't get too hot, because if it gets too hot, your puff mix kind of bakes in the oven instead of rising, so it doesn't get a warm environment anymore. It basically gets an environment to cook, kind of. So turn it off. After emptying the contents of the bag into a bowl, you pour your 300 milliliters of warm water. Make sure it's not boiling hot. I use the back of my hand to check if the temperature is okay, to make sure it's warm and not hot. And you mix that together to a good consistency. So this is mixed properly. Cover your mix and put in a warm environment for 1 to 2 hours. I'm going to put this in the oven that I preheated before I started mixing, and that will be a warm environment enough for me for my puff mix to rise. Okay, I'll see you all in a few minutes when our puff mix has risen and it's ready to fry. Bye. Hi everyone, welcome back. And our puff mix has risen. It's been in the warm oven for about 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes, so you can leave it for 1 hour or 2 hours. That totally depends on you. And now I'm going to scoop it into the oil and fry, and I'll show the technique I use to make sure I get the good shape for the puff. Ideally, what I do is I put a scoop in my hand and then I make sure I squeeze it out through this side, so this, and repeat. To be fair, I noticed when the yeast is good in the puff mix, even if you do a method where you just drop it, let me redo that. If you just do one of those dropping, it still comes out nice. But if you want the balls to be perfect and round without any extras, just use this. Put it in your hand and squeeze out the side. And I would say you should put a lot of oil in the pan, because you're supposed to deep fry the puff. I see a lot of people trying to pan fry puff, and I'm like, but yeah, you have to deep fry it. The heat in the oil helps the yeast further to rise and make a perfectly good mix. Yes. So I'm going to wait for this to fry before I do the next batch. Fry the puff until it's golden brown. And if you use the technique I've shown you, you'll get these nice shapes. Even if you drop it anyhow, it still comes out really nice. But can you see how great this looks? You ought to get your packs today. £5 per one.